Hi everyone, today we are going to start 7.2, which is use the converse of the Pythagorean theorem. And our goal is to use the converse of the Pythagorean theorem to determine if a triangle is a right triangle. Converse of the Pythagorean theorem. If c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared, then triangle ABC is a right triangle. So let's verify right triangles. Tell whether the given triangle is a right triangle. Let's note that we first want to determine the longest side to identify the hypotenuse. So if we look at A here, we want to determine is 9, 15, or 3 radical 34 the largest side. Well, we know 9 isn't, so now it's between 15 and 3 radical 34. So if we put in 3 times the square root of 34 in our we get 17.4928, meaning my right angle would be here. So 3 times the square root of 34 is our hypotenuse. So let's see if this is a right triangle by using the Pythagorean theorem. So 9 squared plus 15 squared. Is this equal to 3 radical 34 squared? All right, well, let's simplify. Well, if I plug this in my calculator, I get 306. When I plug this entire quantity in my calculator, I also get 306. They are the same, meaning yes, this is a right triangle. All right, let's move on to part B. So first thing, we need to figure out what is the longest side. That would be 26. So this is where our right angle would be located. So 26 is our hypotenuse. So 22 squared plus 14 squared. Is that equal to 26 squared? Plug this right into your calculator. You get 680. If you plug this into your calculator, you get 676. So these are not the same. So no, this is not a right triangle. So classifying triangles using the Pythagorean theorem. If a squared plus b squared equals c squared, then we know we have a right triangle. Now, if we don't have a right triangle, we either have an acute or obtuse triangle. To determine those, if we know that a squared plus b squared is greater than c squared, we have an acute triangle. If a squared plus b squared is less than c squared, then we have an obtuse triangle. A way that I remember this is I look at c. If c is less than, it's acute. If c is greater than, it is obtuse. Classify the triangles. Can the segments with the lengths of 4.3 feet, 5.2 feet, and 6.1 feet form a triangle? If so, would the triangle be acute, obtuse, or right? All right, so the first thing we need to determine is, can these side lengths create a triangle? So our first step is to use the triangle inequality theorem. So I need to look at my two shorter sides, which in this case is 4.3 and 5.2. I need to add these up. So 4.3 plus 5.2. If the sum of those two sides are greater than our longest side, which is 6.1, then it will form a triangle. So when I add up 4.3 plus 5.2, I end up getting 9.5. That is greater than 6.1, so it does create a triangle. So now I'm going to move on to step 2. Well, what type of triangle do I have here? So I already know that 6.1 was my largest side, meaning 4.3 and 5.2 are going to be my legs. So let's plug this into our equation. A squared plus b squared. How does that compare to c squared? Is it equal? Is it greater than? Or is it less than? All right, well, a we know is 4.3. I'm going to square that, plus b, which is 5.2. I'm going to square that. Let's see how that compares to c squared, which is 6.1. And I'm squaring that. So if I plug this into my calculator, I end up getting 45.53. How does that compare to 6.1 squared? Well, 6.1 squared is 36.21. So 45.53 is greater than 36.21. Remember, this was our C, and I noticed that it's less than, meaning I have an acute triangle here. And I'm done. So let's try this one more time. Show that the segments with lengths of 3, 4, and 6 can form a triangle. Then classify what type of triangle do we have. Is it acute, right, or obtuse? So my first step is to look at my lengths and determine, can I create a triangle? So 3 plus 4, is that greater than 6? Well, it is, because 7 is greater than 6. I have a triangle. So now I need to see how they compare to each other. So 3 squared plus 4 squared, how does that compare to 6 squared? Well, if I plug this into my calculator, I end up getting 25. How does that compare to 6 squared, which is 36? Well, 25 is less than 36. Remember, this was my C value, and C is greater than C squared is greater than 25. Therefore, I have an obtuse triangle.